So, hello, I'm Lawrence Chard. Welcome to our Chards Coin Bullion Dealer YouTube channel. Today we've got a special guest with us, all the way from Kent, and this is Mr. CobraStacker.
Hi, I'm CobraStacker, and I have been very graciously welcomed into Chards, and I am very privileged to be doing an interview with Lawrence Chard. Thank you so much for seeing me today. It's really an honor to meet up with you. Now, you've been in this industry for a very, very long time. Can you give me a brief introduction on how you started and why you started in this field?
Yep, I can do that. I did say before when you didn't believe me about the 1 ton gold coin, did you?
No, I didn't.
So I always tell the truth, except about my age, and I'm 29.
All right, we'll keep it at 29.
But the fact I've been in this business for somewhere over 60 years actually gives that away a little bit. I'm just backdated, as I think it was The Who said in the song. Yeah, our family, and it was my grandmother's family business in a day when women didn't run businesses. It was kind of male dominated. My grandmother set up a number of businesses. She did building work and things like that, but we also had arcades on Blackpool Promenade, and we also had a sideshow there. I say we, this is the family. And my cousin Robert Allen and I used to help out in the arcades in our on weekends, in our summer holidays, and we got paid a pittance by our family. I say that, I'm joking about it. We got paid about half what would be the minimum wage in those days. But we were getting a kind of apprenticeship or internship, and we were learning a lot of stuff. One of our jobs was to help empty the slot machines on the promenade. One of our other jobs was destroying people's mobile phones when they started ringing. But they didn't have mobile phones in those days, so don't worry. And then we'd actually be counting the takings, and these were in old pennies. You know old pennies, yeah. Don't you? If you've forgotten, we've got a few sacks of them. We've got a few tons of them, actually, wow, that we can show you. But getting them up in the lift is a problem. And, yeah, we used to count them out on an old hanged-cranked counting machine.
Right.
And a couple of things you had to do. You had to hand feed it into the hopper. Later we had an electric one. But you still had to hand feed the coins, and you had to check that there were no thin, damaged, bent ones in there, foreign coins. So we had 2 bins behind the machine, and if you saw a very thin coin, an English one, you'd pull it out and throw it in the worn and damaged bin. If you saw a foreign coin, you'd pull it out and throw it in the damaged bin. And then one day actually a Polish guy that worked in Blackpool at the time, gave us a list of coins that he would buy, and basically mainly old pennies, things like 1912 H, which is Hedon Mint in Birmingham, or KN, King's Norton Mint, 1951 penny, 53, all sorts of stuff that he would buy. And what he was doing with them is selling them to American dealers.
Right.
Well, we found there was a growing demand for them here, but basically the first evening that we actually checked for them, we earned for about 4 hours work, we earned about 10 bob, 10 shillings or 50 pence. Oh, good money in those days.
Yeah, yeah.
But we were allowed to exchange the coins that we got, that we sorted, any scarce dates. As long as we paid for them, we could pay for them with normal coins. And we totted up how much we'd made in the first evening, just on the basis of the premium we were getting from this Polish guy. And we were each making about £2 or £3 for the same 4 hours work. So we're getting paid 50 pence, should have been an hour, at minimum rate, and we're making £3 or £4. So we were earning theoretically 3 or 4 times, 5 times minimum rate, which was good pay for 2 kids for about 14 and 15. It went from there, and then we ended up buying them in from lots of the other bagmen, as they were called, on arcades and amusement machines in Blackpool, and we'd advertise them generally around Exchange and Mart. So we became known as Blackpool's biggest and main coin dealer. biggest, number one of one in those days, and it didn't really stop from there. In 1965, my cousin went off to university, so he sold me his share in the business, and a year later I didn't go to uni because I'd spent about 30 hours a week doing schoolwork and about 40 hours work running the coin business. So I didn't get enough A-levels, and I thought, well, what do I do now? Well, I might as well carry on until I grow up. When I grow up, I'll decide what I'm going to do. Meanwhile, I'm having fun and enjoying it.
And it's never stopped since then?
Not really, no.
So, amazing, absolutely amazing.
Quick enough answer to your question.
It was.
Right. What else do you need to know?
Well, moving into times now, Chards obviously has been a big player in the UK market in buying and selling bullion gold and silver and proof gold and silver. But there is another market which I haven't seen you tap into, and I wondered why that was. And that was the collectible sort of coins from the European mints, Perth Mint, or some of the other ones, and the beautiful artistic high relief or ultra high relief coins. And I was wondering why you haven't brought them into the UK, which is something I've been doing with my auctions now, and there's a massive market for it. What's the reason that Chards does not sort of bring these new pieces in?
We can't do everything.
Right.
Having said that, slight paradox, because when we started, and we were in, if you like, popular numismatics, because it was the ordinary person in the street was finding in the change, starting to collect, missing coins out, selling to dealers, buying, selling, things like exchange and mart at the time, which was probably something like the eBay or the Amazon marketplace of its day, or Facebook marketplace, whatever it is. And we were doing that a year before the UK government announced it was going to decimalize. And once we got the news about decimalisation, the whole sort of grassroots collector market went wild. But we didn't only do that. We were interested in the numismatic market, and much older coins, more interesting coins that used to come into us. Hammered coins, ancient coins, Roman, even the odd Celtic. And Blackpool is not exactly a metropolis. It's a bit of a backwater. So if you were going to run a coin business, you could hardly decide, well, we're going to specialise, we're just going to do Roman, or we're going to do ancient, or we're only going to do modern. So, I learned, and we grew, we expanded, and we took a very Catholic with a small c attitude towards things. We can't afford to be picky. We're in Blackpool. If we're in London, yeah, we could have picked and chosen, so we've done everything. But we've also had to adapt as the market changed. Once we went decimal, the market almost died. Strangely enough, people could no longer find it in the change. And the big boom that had built up between about 63 and 71 just hit a wall, bang, that was it. Fortunately, one of the other aspects that we'd moved into, apart from the higher end and classical numismatic bit, were things like gold sovereigns. And sovereigns were almost the only gold bullion coin readily available on the market then. We used to sell gold sovereigns at £4 each. And you think that's cheap, but it was £3.50 if you bought 1,000. In those days, people at banks had bank managers, so you could get onto your bank manager and say, I've seen this company called Chards in Blackpool. Well, we were R&L coins in those days in Blackpool, advertising sovereigns. I was like, all right, I was a scam. And that bank manager would phone our bank manager and they'd say, oh no, they're quite legitimate, they're okay. And so the guy would send us a cheque. We'd bank the cheque, cleared it, get the sovereigns in, because we didn't stock 1,000 sovereigns. But in those days, I could pick the phone up and deal with people like Johnson Matthey Bankers Limited, and we soon get known our word with our bond. If we said we wanted 500 sovereigns, we wanted 1,000 sovereigns, yeah, we were good, we paid. Had to go to the bank to do old-style telegraphic transfers in those days. We were still maintaining momentum even when the decimalised three-decimal market crashed. And then in 1970, well, actually, In 66, that took a little bit of a hit because the UK government passed something like the Exchange Control Order, and that said that if you're a UK citizen, resident, you weren't allowed to buy any gold coins unless you had a collector's license. And if you had a collection and you wanted to retain more than 4 gold coins, you had to apply for a collector's license. And you applied to the Bank of England. If you were granted that, you could actually keep them. Otherwise, you had to go and sell them to the nearest bank or licensed bullion dealer. We applied for a dealer's license. We got the dealer's license, of course, so we were able to trade. That order got repealed in 1971. So things went back to normal for a couple of years, and then 1973 VAT got imposed, including on coins and including on gold coins and gold sovereigns, and that killed the UK bullion market effectively until January the 1st, 2000. So we've always been versatile, we've always changed, otherwise you become a dinosaur and you go extinct. But even though we started doing everything, in the last 20 years probably, we've not been able to do everything. And what's been very successful for us is the bullion business. So the bullion side of the market has been a driver for a few years. But we've also done new issues with Royal Mint, quite a few years. I mean, I think if you want some memorial through sovereigns from, was the memorial last year?
Yeah, 22.
22. I think we bought 1,000 of those.
Right.
New at the time. Did we offer you some surplus stock of those? Because we've got a few too many at the minute.
Oh, I think we're having a little chat about a few things today. So
it's funny actually because we almost always do a saving on the official Royal Mint price when anything like that comes out. I take the view that why would you buy coins from a one-man band in Blackpool? We're not quite one man, there's about 26 of us or something like that. But why would you buy from somebody in Blackpool when you could buy them direct from the Royal Mint? Well, you're not going to pay us more, are you? We believe in looking after our customers and give them a good deal. Usually once the coins are issued and they've actually sold out in most places, then the prices start creeping up and the premiums start creeping up. And for most of the last dozen years, prices have crept up after the initial issue and after the initial demand. I think for the memorial, perhaps the Royal Mint had been pumping out too many different coin issues and there wasn't a demand. And I think combined with interest rates, cost of living, COVID and a few other things, a few economic factors came together and that particular issue bombed and a few others have kind of hit the wall. And recently the Royal Mint have, I think, officially announced that they've cancelled the rest of their Monarchs series.
Yes, they have for sure. And that's, I mean, there's a lot of rumours out there now about the Tudor Beast series. There's real worry that they're going to cancel that, and I just think that's a very dangerous move in a lot of ways, and would be a real pity as well.
Yeah, it could be. I have a reputation with the Royal Mint, completely unjustified, I may say, of not liking the Royal Mint very much, but no, I do. I like them. We get on with them. I'm fairly outspoken. So, if I think they could do something better, I will say so. We try to do it fairly carefully. But and now we are one of their official distributors once again because we weren't for a few years. But yeah, we try to be kind about them. I know a lot of people and on YouTube have a real go at them. I think some of the criticism is probably fair, but I think a lot of it is probably because public perception has changed. Now when people buy a proof, they want to get it slabbed and they want it to get a PF70.
Yeah.
And if it only gets a PF69, or they live it and they want it, they want it exchanging, or there's a speck of dust on it. And so I don't know how much of the discontent is customer perception, kind of expectation. Whether expectation is a little bit too high, I really don't know the answer to that. I'm overdue to have a visit down to the Royal Mint and have a chat with them. We do meet up with them a couple of times. Occasionally we meet up in Berlin, and you've been to Berlin.
I I have.
Yeah. I haven't been going recently because it interferes with the ski season, and I can't persuade the Royal Money Fair people to actually change it to a better time of the year. I don't know why. But we also meet up with them at the LBMA annual conference. You know about the LBMA?
I've heard of it. I don't know much about it.
We became a full member in January or February this year. So we've joined the likes of some small players that you might have heard of. JP Morgan.
Of course.
Citibank.
Yeah.
A few.
Just the small players in the game.
So we rub shoulders with them. We pretend they're the big boys. Where I got to, I digress, you see.
You do diverse a bit from the thing.
Now, so what was your question?
So the question was that basically all these beautiful artistic collectibles, can we not get some of them in?
Well, yes. But here's another thing. We can't do everything.
No, I understand that. But we're seeing a big crossover in the market between stackers who will collect. So they stack and they're going for the generic silver and just the weight, and they'll slowly go into semi-numismatics, and then they go into these collectibles. And even in my auctions, I see people buying just straight bullion, and they'll pick a nice collectible. Or there may be, they'll buy a load of collectibles, and then they want a bit more for just stacking. So the market's there, and it's just about picking some beautiful pieces. You don't have to have everything, but just some. And I think you're a big player, obviously one of the biggest players. I just thought it'd be nice.
We're still developing our website, for example. We've actually spent or invested about £1 million in it. It's quite good.
Yeah.
But we know it can be better, and we're actually still in process of replacing the entire code on it. The biggest part of that is supporting the bullion side of the operation. So we need live pricing. We need to be able to deal live. We're able to hedge, do foreign exchange, and we're a member of a few exchanges there. And sure, we know that a lot of people want slightly non-mainstream coins, but we've got to be practical and look at the big side of the market. And our main and most popular selling things in the UK market are 1 ounce gold Britannias. Follow that, and you've got gold sovereigns, which we've now been doing successfully for 60 odd years.
Yeah.
And they're still a winner as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, I agree.
And on the silver side, usually 1 ounce silver Britannias, and no real secret, those are our 3 main products. But then we also have people who go, well, I want a half sovereign, I want this year's half sovereign. Well, for us to do that, you've got to look at the minimum order quantity, which is probably something like 500. You've got to look at the premium we pay. Half sovereigns are a higher premium than full sovereigns. So how much margin can we put on a half sovereign to make it worthwhile? And the fact that we sell a bullion sovereign 500 or 1,000 at a time, or 100 or 50. At half sovereign, yeah, sometimes people buy 10 or 20. But a serious investor doesn't come along and buy 1,000 half sovereigns. Technically, it's actually not worthwhile.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
We don't want to be more expensive than the competition. So even something like a second tier coin, like a half sovereign, is a questionable thing. And it goes on, and you have to be slightly selective and have some cut off somewhere. And we take the view that you can't really afford to ignore our volume selling stuff that actually makes our bread and butter. Sure, we could buy some of every new issue that came out from every new mint, but we are still selecting, and we've got to fit it into our program, if you like, and that's quite intense already. So we come to a lot of the art coins and high relief coins, and yeah, a lot of them are very nice, but you look at the volumes that you need to buy in to make it worthwhile. You look at shipping costs, importation costs,
right,
all the other bits, and then you've got to think, okay, you've got to make a reasonable margin, and if it's going to be a very low volume, you have to make a higher margin. We tend to do a slightly full range of Perth mint. You've got a coin in front of you, haven't you there?
I have a fabulous coin here. Guys, this is a 10 kilo Series 2 Lunar Year of the Dog. Absolutely beautiful. Now, you all know I have the full collection of the Series 2 in the 2 ounce coins and the 1 ounce coins. And I'm collecting the Series 3. But this is a piece and a half. And how many of these do they make, and how many do you manage to get hold of?
The issue limit on those is normally 100 pieces. They send out an interest form for you to do an EOI, an expression of interest. And some years we've asked for 10, and we've been told we can have 1. I think in recent years we've been asking for 3, and we've either got 1 or 2. Yeah. And that's it. We usually sell them immediately. I don't know why we've still got that one. It might be because the capsule's cracked.
Right.
And the capsules for those aren't cheap.
Oh, you can get them anywhere, can't you?
No. Personally, I don't know who makes them for them, but yeah, if we want a replacement capsule, it's a problem.
Yeah.
And actually, we bought some on ourselves because the capsules are an excellent tight fit. So when we get one new, we want to take it out the capsule and photograph the coin. Of
course.
We don't want to photograph it through plastic. We don't want the reflection and all that. And unless you remove the capsules very, very carefully, you crack them.
Right.
Then we can't sell the coin until we get a new capsule, and we basically have to beg Perth Mint to please find us a capsule for these sometime, please. It will ask you nicely. Yeah. And they go, oh, not another one.
Moving on to a slightly different subject now. Obviously, recently we have seen spot price on gold and silver rocket up. A little bit of settling and then heading up a little bit more. So the first question on this subject is, do you see it affecting the market in a big way? Are we slowing down with buyers? Are we speeding up with sellers to yourselves? So how has spot affected the business, or how do you think it's going to affect the market out there as it increases, possibly increases? How do you think it's going to affect you as a business and the market and buyers out there?
Well, if I tell you that I haven't even looked at the spot gold price today, it might surprise you. You probably looked at it 20 times, have you?
No, but I have looked at it once or twice because I was buying from you.
What's the latest spot?
So gold is 1838 and silver has hit 2502.
Yeah, okay. Well, silver's about where it was last time I looked and spoke about it. Gold's just eased off a little bit.
That's right.
But sure, gold has trended upwards for the last couple of years, and I can't even give you an exact start date on that because I don't sit and look at spot price graphs every day. It's every few weeks I might have a look, and the trend upwards, it's been interesting. I can see what's happening at grassroots levels, and I can see whether people want to buy it or not want to buy it, and that's obviously an influence. Well, we had inflation partly caused by COVID, but other factors, and that affects interest rates, house prices, and there's been a big squeeze on a lot of incomes. So a lot of people have said, well, they can't afford now to buy a 1 ounce gold coin.
Right.
So what do? Do they buy half ounces or quarter ounces or sovereigns? Do they switch to buying silver? We handle all those markets, but we're more geared up to the person who wants to buy, say, 100 1 ounce gold Britannias or 500. We still do the singles, we do the 10s, we do whatever. And the strange thing is, the bigger volume end of the market hasn't slowed down quite as much. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing the people who've got money have still got money. The people who are scraping are squeezed a bit more at the minute. How that affects the very top end of the market, when I say the top end, it's a different world. Mm. Maybe the Iranians are buying gold, maybe the Russians are, perhaps the US government or treasury are buying gold, maybe Afghanistan's buying gold, I don't know. A lot of it doesn't go immediately reported. Mm. You'd have to probably ask some of the big names in the LBMA to actually find out. A lot of their big major international or bank-to-bank market or mine-to-bank market in the next room or the next building or the next country to us
Yeah.
We see the grassroots.
Yeah, and that's what I really wanted to know from you was the average person out there who buys gold and silver. Have you seen a movement towards silver or going on to 1/10 because the prices have gone up? Is there a fear at the moment that if I buy silver at this price, will it drop? Has that sort of, do you see 2 or 3 months of people sort of relaxing just to see where it's going? Or is there fear of missing out and they're rushing to buy it? So on a grassroots level is what I'm more talking about. How are we finding that people are reacting to it?
I've got an easy answer. All of those.
Yeah, a bit of all, I agree.
Not the answer you wanted.
No, I actually agree.
We have seen all of that. But if you look at, say, the Silver Forum,
yep.
which actually I look at almost every day, and look what's going on there, that's a nice grassroots thing. New collectors asking questions, you get experienced stackers answering them. Basically, a lot of it's good, and a lot of people are saying, okay, well, if gold goes up, they're happy because their investment's gone up. If gold comes down, all right, they've just lost out on their stack, or whatever you want to call it, their portfolio, but it's now cheaper, so they'll buy some more. And they are kind of long-term believers, and I think that's a good philosophy to have.
Right.
But yes, you're in it for long-term. You shouldn't jump, in my opinion, you shouldn't really jump into gold because of hysteria, because that's what everybody's doing this week. Think about it. Think longer term. So
that leads me nicely onto a question for you. And this has been a discussion that's been had between a few of the creators and stackers and all that. If silver, and just talking about silver primarily now, if silver shot up in price to 35, 40 or 50 pounds an ounce, obviously a lot of people will want to exit because they'll think, well, I made a nice lump of profit there and I'd like to exit. So they come to you at Chards and they'd like to sell. Now, you're going to get an influx of people coming in going, I want to sell, I want to sell, I want to sell. Is there going to get to a point where you're going to say, well, we can't keep buying this at this high price because it may drop? Would you ever turn anyone away?
I would like to say no. And I think I can probably safely say, no, we haven't. Except, well, for very good reasons. If somebody's very undesirable or highly suspect, then, yeah, we don't touch them. We're not sure about you yet.
I don't blame you. It's the look. You wouldn't have any fear of buying silver from the market at £50 an ounce if it went up to that. You wouldn't have a fear of buying a large quantity because it may drop, 2 months down the line, it may drop down by £10. So the big question is, a lot of people want to sell and you think you'd be happy to buy it no matter what price.
We'd buy it. For most of our existence, we've actually run our market positions. And by run them, if somebody sells us 1,000 ounces of gold, we stick hold of them and we sell them out until we've down to whatever our ideal quantity is.
Well, Lawrence, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate all the time you've given me. And it's been a real honour and a pleasure to have a chat with you today.
Okay, and it's been nice to see you. You should have come up and stayed overnight.
I should have.
Blackpool's a bargain, but you've travelled, what, 7 or 8 hours today?
It's been a 7-hour drive and got a 7-hour drive back.
We've got to, you've got to pay us for some of the bits you're buying off us.
Absolutely.
You've got the same drive back. You've got a co-driver, so that's all right.
Oh, no, he doesn't drive.
Oh, right.
It's just me.
All right, you're really a glutton for that punishment.
I am.
That's about it, folks. We need to let CobraStacker pay up and go home. A long drive there. Thanks for watching. You know what to do, don't you? What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to tick the we like this button, and then you hit the subscribe bit, and then you tell us what you think down below. If the answer is rubbish, well, put rubbish. I won't be offended. Yeah, we like interaction. If there's things that you want us to talk about, do videos about, questions you want us to answer, just put it all down there. We'll have a look and we'll try and respond. So, thanks for watching. Have a good day. And to our friend Cobra, have a safe journey home.
Thank you very much.